Let me just read you the first 3 verses of the Bible. It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty, darkness. One of the things that God has blessed us with is the gift of language. But out of all of creation, if human beings are the ones that speak words and syllables, and we have multiple languages that we can speak to each other. Family, we show the greatness and the glory of God by praying and singing and speaking and discussing and repeating God's word. See, our words are so important to God because every word is a gift from God that we can use to honor and glorify Him. If we ignore the truth of the Proverbs, you will spend your life not only hurting those closest to you with your words, but dishonoring God and missing out on this awesome opportunity to leverage this gift for the So, our big idea, the main point today is very simple. Like three words. Your word matters. The main point I want you to take away with you this morning. Your word matters. And what I want to use the Proverbs to do is I want the Proverbs to teach us how we can use our words in a God-honoring and meaningful way. So when we look at the Proverbs, they teach us 3 things about using our words. Because our words matter, we have to speak truthfully, speak sparingly, and speak gracefully. Truthfully, sparingly, and gracefully. Let's start with that first one. Your words matter. So speak truthfully. Let me read to you Proverbs 19, verse 5. You want to follow along with me on the screen. Proverbs 19, verse 5 says, a false witness will not go unpunished, and the one who utters lies will not escape. See, to understand what the Proverbs is talking about, connecting our words to truth and lies, we've got to just compare for a moment. What's the difference between a lie and telling the truth? You know, one Christian author said that the Bible's definition of truth is this. Truth is a matter of a belief, statement, or representation that corresponds to life. So it's a thought, it's a representation, it's a statement that corresponds to what's actually going on in our world. So then, when you flip that, then we see a lie. A lie then, by default, is a lie is a matter of belief, statement, or representation that doesn't correspond with reality. And you notice that when the Proverbs are talking about telling the truth and telling lies, you notice they use that witness language, or kind of witness like this. Has like this legal or courtroom setting and language and drama on it. Well, because in the Old Testament, when you were called to testify at a trial, they didn't have forensic evidence. They didn't have investigative reports and computer algorithms and all of these things. The court case solely depended on a witness telling the truth. And to think about today, all the crazy stories and tragic stories we hear about people before DNA evidence was introduced who were lied about in court and they were falsely, how's the judge being the false verdict was to send them to jail. They lost years of their lives because someone lied in court. Well, it was the same thing in the Old Testament. If you told a lie, not only would justice not happen, not only would evil not be punished, but the innocent would be punished. See, what the Bible wants to put on all of us today is that lies aren't punished. Lies do have consequences. Let me show you a quick Proverbs 19:9. It says, a false witness will not go unpunished, and one who utters lies perish. So So what the Bible would put before us is that the reason why we don't want to tell lies is not simply because it hurts other people, but because one day you and I are going to have to stand before a holy God. But God is holy and hates when the innocent are harmed and when evil goes unpunished. The Bible points us to a day that one day all lies will be brought into the light. Luke chapter 8, verse 17 tells us this. For nothing is concealed that won't be revealed, and nothing hidden that won't be made known and brought to the light. See, one day you and I will have to stand before God and give an account for all that we've said, both truth and lies. One day all lies will be brought into light, and we'll be judged by the Holy Spirit of God himself. Now, the temptation is to believe when we talk about this kind of stuff, is to believe that, yeah, you're right. Telling the truth is very important. Don't lie to the truth. And we also believe that there's particular situations where we can say the truth. Where maybe it's better if we don't tell everything. Let me give you an example. A relationship. You've been in a situation where you really care about that other person, you just don't want to hurt their feelings, so you don't tell the truth. Or you do something really bad that would hurt them. This is something we don't talk about it, we forget about it, we keep everything under cover. It's okay. When you read through Proverbs chapter 26, verses 27 and 28. Proverbs 26, verses 27 and 28 says this. The one who digs a pit will fall into it, and whoever rolls a stone will come back on it. A lying tongue hates those that press it, and a flattering mouth causes ruin. See, when you cover up your issues in your relationship, when you lie in a relationship, it really makes things worse. Because when the truth is revealed, and it will be, there'll be more damage and more heartbreak than if you were just honest in the very beginning. Our words are extremely important. Dr. King Hughes described it like this. He said, why is lying so evil? Because true, sincere, honest words bind us together in unity. False words conceal us from one another, even as we might go on sacred community, role-playing community, outwardly, while something else is really going on in our hearts. See, when we tell the truth or we lie, there's always a consequence. If we lie, it's not only a danger in the future when you might stand before God, but your life is a consequence as you tell the people closest to you right now. Today, you will live. There's danger. So, thinking about what the Proverbs tell us, let me just put a question out to you real quick. Will you commit to speaking truth? Because our words matter, because God cares about our words, will you commit to speaking truth? And I know that's hard because, well, what does that look like to be committed to tell the truth? I want to, but what do I do? Well, from the Proverbs, I think there's 3 principles you can apply to your life that if you apply them, you will commit to speaking truth. Let me just throw them out to you real quick. First, if you want to speak truthfully, first thing you got to commit to is to consider what you say. If you're talking to people, if you're talking to someone you have a relationship with, first consider, is what I'm about to say actually accurate and true? Because if not, it'd be better off to say, all I can accurately say about this situation or about this person is this. Or it might even be best to say, hey, I don't know enough about this situation or this person. I don't want to speak on that. I don't know enough information to speak truthfully about this situation. My words matter, so I think I'm going to refrain from commenting on it. Consider what you're about to say. Next, don't participate in life. When the secular community, when the friends around you are all buying into lies, whether it's about money, sexuality, politics, whatever it is, don't participate. Let me give you a real life situation. If everyone at work is lying about their hours, don't lie. Tell the truth. Tell the truth about what you've done by your work. Don't buy in with what everyone else is doing. Lastly, don't listen too much. If you hear something about someone else, if you hear something about a situation on social media, in the news, and you know that's not true, don't listen to it. someone is talking about someone else or situation, and you know exactly that is not true. The best thing to say is like, hey, I feel uncomfortable talking about that because that's not true. I would feel better if we just kind of move on. I don't want to talk about that if we can't talk about what is actually true and accurate about the situation. Don't listen. I mean, your words matter. So what that means is you have to commit to speaking truthfully in our life. So speak truthfully. Next though, speak sparingly. Chapter 10, verse 19 of Proverbs says this. When there are many words, sin is unavoidable. But the one who controls his lips is good. And you see how interesting it is that when the Proverbs in the Bible talk about our words, one of the first dangers it tells us about is not talking too much. Now there's a danger in speaking too much. But in our society today, with the advancement of all this technology, we have been able to speak so much more and gather a larger audience through this. Whether it's over TV, social media, radio even, with the invention of radio, people can hear so much more and listen to so much more. But, I remember when I was, me and Megan were in a premarital counseling back in Citylight Church. We did this really interesting exercise. It was a listening and speaking exercise. So, my pastor said, hey Megan, share something about the wedding planning process that's frustrating you, and just what you're feeling. So she shared that, go figure, I had not turned in stuff I needed for my passport so that we can get it and then go on our vacation. This is pre-COVID, so we had a lot of dreams on where we wanted to go, and then COVID started to get it up. But I hadn't turned that in. So she shared it, so that's really frustrating. And my pastor looked to me and said, okay, Joe, what did she say? And I was like, I got this. She's very frustrated about this and the food and the feeding and all these things. And I told her that we should do this and we should do that. Man, that was the problem. Pastor looked at me and said, you didn't listen at all, did you? I had a big failing grade on that exercise in a marriage counseling. Why? Because I was so quick to talk, but not quick to listen. The thing about our society today and our technological advancement is that it's created us in a way that we think that we need to speak more than listen. We've become people who would rather talk than listen to other people. And you think back to the situation I just said about that hearing and listening exercise. Look at all the sin that was involved in that situation. On my part. One, a lot of pride. Because I was the only person in the world that didn't have to listen to the job there. A lot of arrogance. I assumed I knew what the problem was or what you needed help with. Instead of being humble and asking, hey, what are you feeling? How are you feeling? How can I help? Also, a lot of being on time. Because I didn't listen and my words were uninformed, I was probably going to say something that would tear her down and build her up. Johnny, one of our biggest struggles in this world is that we would rather talk and demand people to listen to us than actually listening instead. And that's why the book of James chapter 1 verse 19 picks up on the Proverbs. And he tells us this exactly. He says, my dear brothers and sisters, James chapter 1 verse 19, understand this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. When I look at our growing church here with a lot of the young moms and families, I find it so fascinating that when a baby cries, the mom says, oh, that's a hungry cry. That's a cranky cry. That's a dirty diaper cry. Or it's all three and one, And I'm sitting there like, how do you know that? Like, I'm just hearing a lot of noise. But because the mother was listening so much, you know what the baby needs. I mean, imagine if we committed to listen before speaking. Imagine the blessing, imagine the peace and the joy that would come if we would just commit to listen before we speak. Imagine the joy and the peace that would come if instead of just saying the first words that pop into our mouth, which probably are very hurtful and not correct, we would just be quiet and say, things would change. Imagine the joy and the positivity that would come if we were more gracious and informed with our words to build people up than just saying what we think is right. We would always be doing it. We would lay out Proverbs chapter 2 and don't do that in our own. talking and listening and being able to speak weird words, even though they're not so important. The one who did pray was in the Bible, it's not going to be so I'm going to like this statement. Lord, set the odds on my mouth. Keep watch, Lord, my mouth. Lord, what we just read. We need to live to speak to them. We can live to listen and want to speak to us because the word is. And like we've been kind of looking at, in order to speak well, we got to listen to it. We have to grow and use it. And that is just right. None of us are naturally good listeners. So once we get to the Proverbs, let's just kind of pull some principles that can help us grow in our listening. First principle, I think we can all grow in, is don't assume. When you're engaging with someone, don't assume you know what they're thinking. Don't assume you know what they're doing. Don't assume you know why they're doing it. When you engage with them, you come to see what's going on. What's going on? What are they doing? When you grow up in listening, also, be curious. When you come to a conversation, you're trying to understand somebody, you're trying to even get an opinion. First thing you have to do is ask them. Hey, what do you mean when you say that? Why do you say that? Well, what's the reason behind it? What do you think is going to be accomplished by doing it? Lastly, learn to repeat. If someone shares with you something and you need to respond and listen, the first thing you do before you ever word or respond is say, hey, before I say something, you need to say, you are sad. You are upset because of this. You did this because you think that you will end up with this. And if that other person tells you, that's not at all what I think. No, you have to misunderstand it. You go start other things to say. You listen. You ask questions. You understand. Until you can actually say, this is what you say. This is what you believe. This is what you hope for. This is what you want to do. And when you say, yeah, that's exactly what I think. Then you have to listen. Okay, because of that, it's right. Or because of that, I didn't mean it because it's right. Or because of that, I'm sorry. That is listening to vital, honest feedback. Even when you know that I think it's going to make you grow in the ability to listen. You really need to speak. So, we have to be careful with us. We have to be careful. We don't speak basic. We don't think it's just how much they talk about the word. We don't need to do that. That's the life. I have the power of healing. And mercy never will be. Now, you guys know about something really quick. When people read that verse, there's a very common misconception that when they read it, they go, oh, I'm so glad it's healing that I can speak to God. I'm so glad that house is mine. $100,000 that, like, we speak. I mean, a lot of people think that it's okay to say, oh, I speak it. But remember, when the Bible says something, you have to allow the other scriptures in the Bible to paint the picture for you. Allow it to interpret the scripture for you. So, when we look at that, there's life and power in the tongue. Allow the Proverbs to paint the picture for you. What does he make it the tongue? The tongue has power in the tongue. The Lord will always have the power in the tongue. Okay. Well, let's just get that. From my life. Proverbs 16:24 tells us this. Blessed words are honeycomb. Sweet taste. When you get the honey is very unique and effective because it is not sweet. You put it on anything and it is great. And it gives it fun. But also it's unique because they do get the money even to the body. They get it and put it on the money and you use it to help particular people. And you know how unique that is because most of people never taste it. But the Proverbs say that the present words are both sweet and good. If you think about how that applies to our have output over 20%. Your words can also destroy community, destroy you. What's one way to break up a good friendship? Say the wrong thing. Say something else. What if someone is hurting, the worst thing you can do is say the wrong thing at the wrong time. Some things that are hard. You can break things down. But let's take it very deeply. It's not just that. This is hurt things much more than this. Proverbs 13:3 tells us this. The one who guards his mouth protects his life. The one who opens his lips invites him. Over the years, especially as a Christian church, I try to meet up with people who are not Christian, but in the community and trying to get by. And a lot of times I'm really, again, I'm speaking to the word, but it's like I'm basically, I help people, I create others crying, but you know, it's really that we're talking about it. The Bible doesn't talk about God asking for the person. One is and let me just put this into this topic. Just think about how crazy it is. Imagine that the day you stand before God, and all He says to you is, hey, and just listen to all the words He's ever said. But it's a public enemy. All I'm going to judge you. My nature, my choice, we all reject. We all don't want to be enough. We don't want to honor Him with so little. So we naturally would rather lie. We'd rather insult God or insult the people who are around us. We'd rather banish. We'd rather drown. We'd rather get stuff. We'd rather be burned against the good God. Now, if you want to use your word wisely, all that you do is just naturally over things like this. Every one of us is either on the front end of push disobedience and we don't see it coming, or we're on the back end of being disobedient. We have to deal with the fact that we don't want to be there. We don't want to have it. What do you think about that? We're standing before a holy, just God, and we take account of everything that's not on us. Nowadays, it's beautiful. It was essential. God chapter 3, verse 17. For God loved the world in this way. He gives His one and only Son, so that everyone who believes in Him will not perish, but have eternal life. So God did not send His Son into the world to condemn it, but to save people. The gospel offers us good. It's just a good word that, oh no, we deserve judgment. For all the things we've done and left undone, all the things we've said and left unsaid. Jesus came. He lived the perfect life. He absorbed on the cross all the wrath of God that you and I deserve. So that when God looks at us, you know the words that you hear? Blessed, grace, well done, Son and daughter of the King. You get to say that because Christ took the judgment that you and I deserve on the cross. Listen to what Pastor Proverbs says here. On the cross, Jesus loved us so much that His sacrifice created the only record before God. But every foolish word you and I have ever said. He took the divine condemnation from our lives, our insults and gossip, our put-downs, our grabbing, our false promises, and our grudging, as well as our guilty sin when we sin like that. So, if you would be here today watching online and saying, man, if I could serve God, everything that I've done, it's not going to be done. Maybe you've been cool with you, if you tell like you don't have to hide a business with God. Jesus doesn't have to be your faithful. You can be your Lord and Savior. Lord, you can hear the good word that says that your sins are forgiven if you turn to Him. Submit to Him as your Lord. read a good word on it. Confess your sin. Confess the ways you love everything that you do, and believe that Jesus can. The Bible says that all who come to me, I love because of him. All who confess their sins, I forgive them. That's you to pray Bible. There's one of the quick part on the back. This is not good advice, but this is the way. This is advice. But, maybe, and it's something I wanted to understand about Proverbs is, Jesus is not just a doorway to me. It's not just a doorway to speak of his word. He's also a doorway. If you come to him, let his word transform you. So, while you stir yourself in his word, here's the challenge. Where you can live, speak and listen. Where you can live, speak and listen. Now, if you want to learn how to speak and listen, this is something that people tell me, all that stuff that I am doing it, all of us do it together. You want to learn to speak and learn. When people are hurting around you, the best thing they need is not just good advice. They need to hear, hey, just try harder. Something like, what they need to hear is the good news of his life, death, and resurrection. They need to hear that, hey, you may not understand it all, but God does. You may not have it all figured out, but Jesus does. You may see no good in the situation, but Jesus does. Let's go ahead. Remind them of the truth. The best word you can give to them is the words of the gospel. And as a family project, we're going to pray that together. We're going to grow that together. If you want to speak with us, Lord, help me, I'm sorry, and this is the gospel. And your words matter too much to not leave these space. Because of the word matter, we have to speak worship. So the thing is, let me just read you 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 24 and 25. We're all precious like grass, and all its glory like a flower of the grass. The grass withers and the flower falls, but the word of the Lord endures forever. And this word is the gospel that was proclaimed to you. Now, I'm not perfect. I was today. We wouldn't just hear this as a bunch of good advice, but the gospel comes from the scripture which saturate your life. The feeling of so much that your very words that come out of your mouth are shaped and formed by the good news of the gospel. I pray that we all have a recognition that every word that we speak is a gift from God. When we honor him. Family, let's be a church that knows the truth about our words. Let's be a church that knows that our words matter. Amen? Let's pray. Father, I stand up this morning feeling so guilty. It doesn't take but 10 minutes of my day to recognize how messed up my words are. Father, we've all failed you in word and in deed. Father, we said things that we shouldn't say, and we haven't said things that we should be saying. As you speak a better word over us,
that saturate us today. Would we fall more in love with your Son? Would we love your words? Would we delight in your word? Would your word be the loudest thing in us so that we could speak truthfully, sparingly, and graciously? We can't do this alone. Would you help us this morning?